Thank you, Chairman. My name is Pilar Rodriguez. I'm the Executive Director for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority, and talk to you a little bit about the history of this project. There's been variations of this proposed project that have been included in the local planning documents as early as 1996. It included but was not limited to the thoroughfare plans for the Hidalgo County Loop Study, which was done in 2000. Currently, the proposed project is included in the Hidalgo County MPO's fiscally constrained 2015-2018 Transportation Improvement Plan and the 2015-2040 Metropolitan Transportation Plan for construction in fiscal years 2015 and 2016. It's also listed on TxDOT's statewide Transportation Improvement Program. The SH365 or State Highway 365 project is a result of the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority partnering with the Texas Department of Transportation to leverage multiple funding sources and develop an innovative transportation solution. State Highway 365 is financially feasible and toll viable. Therefore, the RMA is proposing to use the following funding sources, and they're listed here. Of course, we're going to use TxDOT funds. That's why they're our partner. We're going to use vehicle registration surcharges. That's when you register your vehicle every year. Transportation reinvestment zone, toll revenue bonds, and a state infrastructure bank loan. The chairman referred to the phases. Phase 1, which is at the FAR Bridge or the US 281 Military Highway Overpass, is estimated at $22.6 million. Phase 2, which gets us from the FAR Bridge to the Ansalduas Bridge, is estimated at $162.7 million. And finally, Phase 3, which is the segment from the Ansalduas Bridge over to Conway, is estimated at $30.3 million. The total estimated project cost for all the phases proposed for this facility is $273 million. That includes all costs: right-of-way, environmental clearance, engineering, and construction. Prior to this public hearing, open houses and public meetings were held from 2002 to 2008 by Hidalgo County and the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. These meetings were held for several projects that followed a similar alignment as currently proposed for the State Highway 365 project. The Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority then conducted a public meeting in July of 2010 to present the project alternatives associated with what was then known as the Trade Corridor Connector Project, which is now the State Highway 365 project, that included improvements at the US 281 intersection. The public comments received at these meetings were taken into consideration during the development of the proposed State Highway 365 Trade Corridor Connector project. The most recent public involvement included an open house public meeting held on March 26, 27th, and 28th of 2013 for the State Highway 365 project in its current configuration. Comments and suggestions received from the community leaders, nearby property owners, stakeholders, and regulatory agencies have contributed to the development of the proposed State Highway 365 project since its inception in the early 2000s. Based on comments from the 2013 public meetings, the selection of the US 281 improvement locations were finalized, and grade separations at Anaya Road and Highland Road were included in the project. Additionally, the Regional Mobility Authority conducted a value engineering study that resulted in a cost savings of approximately $23 million. I'm going to now turn the presentation over to Mr. Gus Lopez with Dannenbaum Engineering, who is our program manager, and he will cover more technical aspects regarding the design of the project.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I want to give you a good overview of the project so you have an idea of what is going to be constructed and which more technical information you can take with you. The proposed project will be constructed in phases. Depending on the amount of time it takes to acquire the right-of-way, relocate utilities, and also construct each phase, most likely this construction will overlap between phase 1 and phase 2. All three initial phases are designed to be constructed with minimal disruption to the flow of traffic. The majority of the traffic will be constructed on new location. Phase 1, which now we call segment 3 or New Street 1 for the proposed project, consists in constructing an overpass at 281 Military Highway, and basically starts just west of Spur 600, where the FAR International Bridge is located, and then moving east to Stewart Road, FM 2557, for approximately 2 miles. Currently, the section of roadway has 2 lanes, one in each direction with a narrow shoulder and intersections at I Road, San Juan Road, and Stewart Road. Currently, there is an at-grade intersection with a traffic signal at I Road and stop signs on the other cross streets. Here you can see a roadway curb and gutter typical section for most of the proposed US 281 improvements, and a typical section that will be basically close to where the overpass will be located. The proposed US 281 military road facility will be upgraded to a 4-lane roadway with a left turn lane on most of these limits. A grade separation structure will be constructed near the San Juan Road intersection where the proposed SH 365 segment 1 will be located. The proposed overpass will include 4 12-foot wide travel lanes divided by a center concrete median barrier with 4-foot inside shoulders and 10-foot outside shoulders, all along the US 281 military highway. The center concrete barrier will end shortly after the limits of the grade separation, and a barrier will extend beyond the I Road intersection on the west side of the proposed overpass. That will be covering basically with a barrier in the center. As a result of the existing signal at US 281 military highway 9 Road, the signal intersection will be removed. A proposed at-grade intersection at SH 365 and the BSIF connector will be constructed with ramps and turnarounds. This overpass will serve to separate heavy truck traffic from exiting the BSIF and entering US 281. This also will alleviate the traffic merging into US 281 at that intersection. This will provide safer means for truck traffic merging going east and west along the US 281. This new roadway will continue the existing 4-lane facility just east of Spur 600 and will provide a curb and gutter section facility west of FAR International Bridge and continue with the curb and gutter section all the way to Spur to FM 2557 Stewart Road. Also will provide safer control of access to the properties adjacent to this property. In addition, included with the Phase 1 US 281 improvement project with the overpass at San Juan Road is what we call the BSIF, or Border Safety Inspection Facility Connector Road. The BSIF connector is a new location roadway serving the proposed truck traffic exiting from the FAR International Bridge, the truck facility, and connecting to the US 281 military highway. The new BSIF connector facility was constructed by TxDOT to route traffic from FAR Reynosa International Bridge to a state-of-the-art inspection facility for safety and way inspections of heavy truck traffic that is northbound from the International Bridge. As indicated on this screen, the RMA proposes to construct a 0.7-mile connector that will allow vehicles exiting the FAR BSIF facility and continue north to the proposed US 281 overpass at San Juan Road, SX 365. This connector will also partially serve to continue the connectivity from 281 to the existing South San Juan Road connector near Dolphin Canal Levee. Here you can see the typical sections that will be used for this connector road facility. The proposed roadway serving the BSIF truck traffic will begin with a single 14-foot travel lane with 4-foot inside shoulders and a 10-foot outside shoulders. From the intersection from 281, approximately 600 foot south, we'll have a two-way road, travel road with a 14-foot center that will allow the connectivity from the intersection to the existing San Juan Road. Phase 2, this is the larger project of the two, what we call segments 1 and 2, will include a 13.4 mile toll road facility from FM 396 San Salduas Highway to US 281 Military Highway. This will be the proposed new location tollway facility that will connect the cities of Mission, Gran Geno, McAllen, Hidalgo, Bar, and San Juan. This section of roadway will also include the construction of an elevated floodway bridge just west of 23rd Street Canal, other canal crossings, and sections of the floodway levee will have to be relocated within this project. The Ansalduas GSA International Bridge and the FAR International Bridge will be anchoring this project at both ends. The typical section that you see here in your screen will be used for the Phase 1 interim construction phase. It will consist of 4 12-foot main travel lanes and with 4-foot inside shoulders and 10-foot outside shoulders, divided by a grassy median and connecting at grade with overpasses at Cherry Road, 23rd Street, 10th Street, Jackson Road, Cage Boulevard, Dicker Road, Anaya Road, and Highline Road. All of these will have overpasses. Other grade separation are proposed at Glasscock, McCall Road, I Road, and Las Milpas Road. Those will be underpasses that will be coming in. Some sections of this interim connection or construction will have access road as indicated on the typical section shown on the screen. This frontage road will serve to access properties along the roadway in certain sections. Phase 3, the SH 365 construction would include also a 3.13 mile toll facility from FM 1016 Conway Avenue and going all the way to connect to the FM 396 San Salduas connector. So this will add to the length that we are providing with segment 1 and 2. It also will include a short west segment that will provide at-grade connectivity to FM 1016 Conway Avenue and Military Parkway to the west. The typical section that you see on your screen will be used for this Phase 3 interim toll facility. This section of roadway will continue the 4-lane facility at the Ansalduas GSA Connector Road and go west to Conway Avenue. This segment will consist of a 4-lane divided toll facility with a 4-foot inside shoulder and the 10-foot outside shoulders. In addition, this section will consist on overpasses at FM 1016, Conway Avenue, plus the railroad adjacent to FM 1016, continue southeast and cross FM 1016 Military Roadway again, and then cross the Union Pacific Railroad once more south of 1016, and basically terminating or connecting at the Ansalduas connector with an overpass. Here you can see the ultimate. This is the ultimate section that you will see in this facility, and we're purchasing the right-of-way necessary to build this ultimate facility. And as the chairman mentioned, this will have 6 travel lanes, 3 in each direction. The frontage road will have 2 lanes each and will have turnarounds at every overpass. This proposed right-of-way has a typical section width that varies from 300 to 400 foot of right-of-way at most of the grade intersections. Some of the most significant components or elements that you will see in this construction of this facility will be an approximately 3,000-foot-long floodway bridge crossing. There will be various floodway levee relocations, such as the one that you can see on the screen. There will be 11 total grade separations, and there will be multiple canal crossings, irrigation canals that will be crossing the facility. Basically, this concludes the presentation of the technical part of the presentation, and I would like to give Mr. Pilar Rodriguez now the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Shown on the exhibit boards in the hall, which are just outside the door, is a trip analysis for use of the proposed State Highway 365 project, and this is what that exhibit board looks like. The costs have been provided for both auto and truck use. Access where existing toll roadways are present along the project will be provided as part of the proposed project. The cost for an auto exiting the FAR Reynosa International Bridge should travel to the Ansalduas Bridge, or FM 396, which is also known as Ansalduas Highway. Approximately 17 miles would be $2.83. A 4-axle truck would pay $8.49 for the same trip. A representative from the Regional Mobility Authority is available at the toll exhibit to explain the proposed trip costs along State Highway 365. The Regional Mobility Authority and TxDOT, in partnership with the Texas legislature, plans to designate State Highway 365 project as an overweight truck corridor. The State Highway 365 project has been designated to accommodate overweight trucks, unlike a conventional roadway. And right now, the legal limit for trucks is 85,000 pounds, and overweight will be going up to 125,000 pounds, gross vehicle weight. The designation will make the free trade zones more attractive to foreign truck traffic and will keep overweight trucks within the designated route. This will also reduce the number of trucks because if you have a truck that can carry a heavier load, in theory, you'll have less trucks on the roadway. The permit fees will be used to maintain the roadway, including the corridor, and cover administrative costs. And right now, that's $80 per trip. At this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Sharon Becca with Atkins Environmental, and she'll give you an overview of the environmental portion of the project.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Pilar. So since the project has federal funding, the National Environmental Policy Act, otherwise known as NEPA, has to be followed to ensure the decision-making process is conducted in an open and collaborative manner with full disclosure of the environmental impacts. NEPA, as it's affectionately called, evaluates alternatives, which includes also the no-build or no-action alternative, and tries to avoid, minimize, and or mitigate impacts to the affected environment. The environmental review, consultation, and other actions required by applicable environmental laws for this project are being or have been carried out by TxDOT pursuant to Title 23 of the United States Code, Section 327, as well as a Memorandum of Understanding dated December 16 of last year, and it was executed by FHWA, the Federal Highway Administration, as well as TxDOT.
En español, lee de la siguiente manera: la revisión ambiental, las consultas y otras acciones requeridas por las leyes ambientales federales aplicables para este proyecto están siendo o han sido llevadas a cabo por TxDOT en virtud de la norma 23 USC 327 y un acuerdo de entendimiento fechado el 16 de diciembre del 2014 y ejecutado por la Agencia Federal FSWA y el Departamento de Transportación TxDOT.
So moving on to the next slide, where we talk about environmental items considered during the process. It lists all the resources that must be considered in the environmental evaluation of roadway projects. I won't read through all of them, but essentially the potential impacts of the proposed project, if constructed, of each of these resources or factors was assessed and documented in the environmental document. Some of the highlights include things such as relocation and right-of-way requirements, air quality as well as noise, of course wetlands and waters of the U.S., threatened and endangered species, which is one of the big items down in the lower Rio Grande Valley. And again, please read it at your leisure. But in essence, a draft environmental assessment has been prepared and was approved by TxDOT as satisfactory for further processing on April 8th this year. And that EA is available for viewing at the environmental station tonight. So we have a big ream of for the environmental assessment that's outside, as I stated. But this slide pretty much narrows down what the crux of the environmental assessment it came out to be. So I'll summarize the impact analysis that was performed as part of the assessment related specifically to the build alternative. So the build alternative would require 741 acres of land, 274 acres of vegetation to be converted to transportation right away. However, complete vegetation removal would be minimized and some impacts would be only temporary in nature. The total acreage of waters of the U.S. as well as wetlands within the proposed right-of-way that are potentially jurisdictional is approximately 19.23 acres. We're currently working with the design engineers in efforts to minimize these impacts, and an individual permit from the United States Army Corps of Engineers will be required as a result of the impacts. A study was performed to identify potential impacts to historic and archaeological resources within the study area. And what we found out was that 7 archaeological sites are located within the proposed right-of-way. And we are going to take the necessary steps to mitigate these sites by filling them with sterile fill to avoid disturbance during construction. 2 historical markers are located within the proposed right-of-way, and they will remain in their current location. 2 National Register for Historic Places listed resources are within the project area, which includes the Louisiana Rio Grande Canal Company irrigation system, also known as Irrigation District Number 2, and the La Lomita Ranch Historic District were identified within the historic resources area of potential effect. In order to address these historic resources, a Section 4F de minimis determination will be completed. An exhibit that shows, if you haven't had a chance to look at the environmental station outside as yet, this exhibit shows a matrix that quantifies the impacts of the build alternative. And please feel free to take a look at it after we get wrapped up here tonight. And the environmental permit associated with the proposed project would include the Corps of Engineers Section 404 individual permit that I mentioned earlier. Also a Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ, general construction permit, as well as an International Boundary and Water Commission, or IBWC, construction license. I will now turn the presentation back over to Mr. Pilar Rodriguez.
Thank you, Sharon. And this project, as has been described to you tonight, will require, like Sharon said, 740 acres of right-of-way, and will consist of 9 potential displacements. 3 of them will be residential, 5 will be commercial properties, and 1 church. There are 2 booklets available to you, both in English and Spanish, at the right-of-way table that explain the process. And if you exit this door and you hang a left and you follow the exhibit boards, that table is by the last exhibit board. One of the booklets is titled The Purchase of Right-of-Way, and the other one is titled Relocation Assistance. Also on the table, you'll find the landowner's Bill of Rights for you to take and review. If there is a possibility that some of your properties may be acquired and you did not pick up the booklets, you can secure copies at the right-of-way table after this hearing. These booklets contain a valuable amount of information, and we encourage you to pick these up and be familiar with the right-of-way process. After TxDOT issues an environmental decision, the Regional Mobility Authority will then release an agent who will begin to acquire the property on behalf of the Regional Mobility Authority in accordance with state and federal laws outlined in the booklets and on the TxDOT website.